qualified for the next stage, and I guess how will you kind of react to that from here?
It's definitely a better start than what we used to in World Cups. The last couple have been a bit slow starting, and then sort of got the ball rolling. But it's nice to have a cue next game, I guess, and sort of not start getting ready for Super 8. So we've still got one game left, but I guess we can ease off a little bit over the next few days and freshen up when the Super 8 is quite taxing. It looks like the schedule with flights and late games and early flights. So we'll freshen up for that.
For that reason, and also the benefit of giving some of the other guys a game, like would you expect against Scotland that a couple of the other squad players who haven't played yet might get a game?
Obviously it's up to the coaches and the captain and the selectors, but I think quite a few of us. I haven't been playing, so I'm still keen to get out there and still work on a couple of things. But I mean, the guys have been playing IPL, so potentially one or two of those might have a rest. But it hasn't been a grueling schedule. A game every 3 or 4 days isn't too tough in T20 cricket. So I think it'll be almost up to the individual. I think in that regard.
Josh, I know it's just 1 over between the first and the second, but is it different bowling the first over? I know you've done it in the past, but just become so used to seeing Stark do it. It looked like it was hooping around as well in that first over.
It wasn't great at the where you jump from that end, so there was quite a big hole there, which I found quite tough. I was pretty much right out the middle of it, so I found that tough to get used to. But in terms of bowling the first over, it's probably a little bit easier, if anything. I think most of the batters sort of have a couple of siders, and if you can get a single at the right time, you get the new fresh goal and strike again for a fresh start. So I find from the second over through to the sixth is pretty tough bowling. The guys have had a look, they've summed up the conditions. And at least one of the batters is going pretty hard usually. So I think statistically the first over's the least amount of runs usually.
And just like in a World Cup, and you've been part of a few World Cups now, like how important is a win like that? Like not just in terms of winning and qualifying, but almost like sending a signal to all the other teams, the ruthlessness that you showed today.
Yeah, I think in the back of your head turning up today, that's how the day should go for us. And it's one thing thinking that, it's another thing actually going out and doing it. So it was up to us obviously to set the tone as the bowling group, and to have them, I think 3 for 16, 4 for 5 for 20 odd, really sort of set that tone. And then obviously we got the freedom with the bat to chase a lowish score as quickly as possible and help that net run rate again that we don't necessarily take into the Super 8s. We only have it for one more game, but yeah, it's good to get a win like that.
And just finally from me, just the first taste in this World Cup of different conditions, like Barbados to Antigua, and from this point on, you doing that constantly, like was that like important to kind of get used to as well?
Yeah, I think so. In terms of probably the wind, it's always there, so you've got to use that to your advantage as best you can as a bowling group, and I think it's just about adapting and probably communication are the two things we work on quite a bit as a bowling group, and getting that information around pretty quickly of how the wicket's reacting, what's going to work best in these conditions, and make sure every bowler knows that and it gets around and we adapt. So I found we did that very well against England, and tonight was a pretty good wicket for the Quicks, to be honest. New ball wicket, but it probably got better as the ball got a little bit older to bat on, and then it spun quite a bit for Zampa. So decent cricket wicket.
Josh, you touched on it before, but your net run rate's going to be through the roof now. I'm not sure what the exact number, but it's probably the best in the competition. It's not going to count for anything. Just how kind of frustrating is that?
Yeah, it's a little bit strange that it doesn't go through the tournament. This is probably the first T20 World Cup I've played that's set up this way, or first World Cup in general that's set up this way. So it's a little bit different, and I think the work that you do in the round games, and if you go through undefeated and have a good net run rate, doesn't really account for much once you're in the Super 8. So it's a strange one, but that's how it is.
I think Adam Zampa was the first Australian to 100 Australian man to Australian
100 T20 wickets.
Thank you. And then he said in his TV interview that he bowled a couple of pies to get a couple of wickets. Do you kind of agree with that assessment, or is there a bit more to it?
I think there was only one pie that I saw. No, he's been fantastic for us. I think in the England game in particular, he came on and bowled outstanding, and then tonight got rewards for his hard work. He's just crucial for us through the middle. If we can set the tone and grab 1 or 2 early and get him through the middle order and lower order, it's, as we saw tonight, he can really make some damage. And 100 T20 wickets is outstanding. First male to do it for Australia. So congrats.
And what about just I know tonight was a bit of an anomaly, but the way Trav and Dave are attacking the power play, have you seen a kind of opening pair as dangerous in your time playing T20s for Australia?
I don't think so. I mean, Dave's obviously been there from the start, played a lot of cricket with him, but having Trav there, they're obviously both left-handers, but they score runs at different parts of the field, and the bowler has to adapt his line to both of them. So it's hard work for the bowler, that's for sure. We saw Trav for the IPL just light it up. I think one opener has to do it. The game's so short that one opener just has to take it upon himself, and I think with us it can be either one. Trav's probably more likely, but I think it's either one that can really light it up in the first 6, and you definitely need that in these conditions.
Josh, you said you're keen to keep playing and work on a few things. It looks like you're bowling pretty well at the minute. So what do you want to work on leading into Scotland?
I think just that rhythm, just keep bowling. I mean, you can do it at training, but I think in a game it's so much better, getting that experience, and again, different wicket again, so it's just about adapting. But yeah, just keeping that rhythm going. I find I go better the more I play usually, and ball's coming out pretty well at the minute, but we'll probably get put on a little bit more pressure against Scotland, and that might be some death options that we're working on and trying to nail down, so a couple of things.
Josh, just back to net run rate, but England's obviously one of the better teams in the tournament. They are going to be relying on net run rate to get through to the next stage. Is it in Australia's interest to, if there's anything that can be done about it in the Scotland game, to make it as difficult as possible for England to progress?
Yeah, I think so. In this tournament, you potentially come up against England at some stage again, and as you said, they're probably one of the top few teams on their day, or we've had some real struggles against them in T20 cricket, so if we can get them out of the tournament, that's in our best interest as well as probably everyone else. But yeah, it'll be interesting to see. We've never really been in this position before as a team, I don't think, so whether we have discussions or not, or we just try and play it again the way we did tonight, yeah, that'll be up to people, not me.
How do you think it would look like?
Not too sure really, whether you get close and you just knock it around and drag it out. There's a few options there, but as you said, to take confidence from winning and winning well, I think that's almost more important than potentially trying to knock someone else out. They've still got a lot to do on their behalf as well, so I think it'll become clearer the closer we get to that sort of stuff.
And Josh, how are you, being a new father and being over here, how have you sort of kept in contact at home, and how's that experience been?
Yeah, it's been different. First tour I've been on since becoming a father, obviously, so yeah, it's tougher to leave home probably, but with the time difference here, it's quite tough to keep in contact as well, but yeah, luckily I guess it's not a huge tour, it's not an Ashes tour where it goes for 3 months, so we'll be back home before we know it.
Just on Adam Zampa, but coming to him, like when you talk about Test cricket, you, Mitch and Pat, there's always talk of Nathan Lyon and the importance of his role, like to complete that bowling attack. Do you think we need to talk more about Adam Zampa in the same vein? Like I'm sure you guys do, but in terms of white ball cricket and what he brings to the attack to aid the three of you?
Yeah, we certainly do within the team, for sure. We know his importance. We've seen it time and time again in whether it be one-day cricket or T20 cricket, often in big tournaments and in big games as well. So we know his importance. 100 T20 wickets, first one there. Played the most T20 for Australia as a bowler. So he's ticking a lot of boxes and continues to. I think the big thing is he continues to improve all the time. He's always working on something and nailing down his lengths or whatever it is. So yeah, he's a key part of our team.
Thank you.
All right.